How does North Korea make money? The secret economy of a hidden nation. North Korea is one of the most mysterious and isolated countries in the world. It has been under heavy international sanctions for decades. Its economy is tightly controlled, and its people have very little connection with the outside world. Yet, despite these restrictions, the country continues to function. Its military remains powerful. Its leadership maintains control, and somehow, it finds the money to fund large-scale projects, including nuclear weapons and cyber warfare. How is this possible? Where does North Korea get its money? Now, let's talk about North Korea's economy in general before we get into the hidden ways it sustains itself. Unlike South Korea, which has built itself into an economic powerhouse through technology, manufacturing, and exports, North Korea's economy has remained weak and isolated. The country does have some natural resources, mainly coal and minerals, but it lacks the infrastructure and industrial capacity to develop a strong, self-sustaining economy. In the past, one of North Korea's biggest sources of income was coal exports, particularly to China. Almost all of the coal it produced was sent to China, generating much-needed revenue for the government. But after North Korea conducted nuclear weapons tests, the international community imposed strict sanctions. These sanctions banned North Korea from selling coal, seafood, and other resources abroad. Even China, which had been its biggest buyer, had to officially stop purchasing these goods. So what happened next? North Korea had to find new ways to survive. Now, let's talk about China's role in North Korea's economy. While China follows international sanctions on paper, in reality, it remains North Korea's biggest economic lifeline. China does not want North Korea to collapse, because if it does, millions of refugees would flood across the border, and China would face a massive crisis. Additionally, China prefers having North Korea as a buffer between itself and South Korea, where American troops are stationed. Because of this, China continues to provide North Korea with essential goods like food, fuel, and fertilizer. But there's also a lot of behind-the-scenes trade happening. Even though North Korea is banned from exporting coal, reports suggest that large amounts of coal still make their way into China through illegal shipping routes. North Korean ships often sail into international waters, where they secretly transfer their cargo to other vessels. These ships then carry the coal to Chinese ports under false records, making it difficult to track. China denies that this is happening, but without this trade, North Korea's economy would be in even worse shape than it is now. Now, let's talk about smuggling. Since legal trade has been restricted, North Korea has turned to underground methods to move its goods. This includes smuggling coal and minerals under false shipping records, using middlemen to sell products on the black market, and even engaging in illegal fishing operations. North Korean seafood, for example, has been found in international markets despite the official ban. The country has developed an entire network of secret trade routes, using offshore transactions and hidden supply chains to bypass sanctions. These smuggling operations have become a major source of income for the government, allowing it to continue funding its projects despite the restrictions placed on it. But North Korea doesn't just rely on physical trade. It has also built a powerful empire in the digital world through hacking and cyber warfare. North Korean hackers are among the most skilled in the world, and they have been linked to some of the largest cyber thefts in history. They target banks, financial institutions, and cryptocurrency exchanges, stealing massive amounts of money. Why focus on cryptocurrency? Because once cryptocurrency is stolen, it's almost impossible to track and recover. Unlike traditional bank accounts, which can be frozen, cryptocurrency can be moved across borders in seconds without leaving a clear trace. Experts estimate that North Korea is responsible for a significant portion of the world's ransomware attacks, making cybercrime one of its biggest sources of income. Now, let's talk about how North Korea moves its stolen money. After hacking or smuggling operations bring in cash, that money needs to be laundered. And this is where Hong Kong and Macau come in. North Korea works with underground criminal organizations in these regions to move money through secret financial networks. This includes laundering money through casinos, business fronts, and offshore accounts, making it nearly impossible to trace back to North Korea. This hidden financial network has allowed North Korea to continue funding its government, despite sanctions. Even when international banks try to block North Korean transactions, these underground channels keep the money flowing. Now, let's talk about another way North Korea makes money: forced labor. Since the country cannot legally export many products, it has turned to exporting its own people as laborers. Tens of thousands of North Koreans are sent abroad to work in factories, construction sites, and even agricultural farms. But these workers don't get paid. Instead, their wages go directly to the North Korean government. These workers live under strict supervision. They are not allowed to interact with locals, and they are completely cut off from the outside world. This form of forced labor has become a key source of revenue for the North Korean government, with many workers being sent to China, Russia, and even parts of the Middle East. Now, let's talk about North Korea's weapons trade. Despite being under strict arms embargoes, North Korea has been involved in the secret sale of weapons to various countries and armed groups. There are reports that North Korea has been supplying weapons to Russia in exchange for financial support. Additionally, the country has allegedly sent thousands of soldiers to assist Russia in the Ukraine war, being paid in return for their services. Selling weapons has become one of the few ways North Korea can still generate revenue internationally. Now, let's talk about counterfeit money. North Korea has been producing fake US dollars for years. These counterfeit bills are so well made that they are nearly identical to real US currency. Most of this fake money is laundered through Macau casinos, where it gets mixed with real cash before re-entering the global market. While counterfeiting is not North Korea's biggest source of income, it provides an additional stream of money for the regime. Another method North Korea has used is diplomatic drug smuggling. In the past, North Korean diplomats have been caught smuggling illegal drugs across borders. Since diplomats have immunity from normal security checks, they have been able to transport illegal substances without being searched. While some reports suggest that North Korea has reduced its drug smuggling operations, others believe it still happens in secret. Now, let's talk about tourism. North Korea has tried to boost its economy by attracting foreign visitors, but very few people are willing to travel there. The country is known for its strict surveillance, lack of freedom, and the risk of being detained for minor infractions. One of the most well-known cases is Otto Warmbier, an American tourist who was arrested for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster. He was sentenced to years in prison and later returned to the US in a coma. His case became a warning to travelers, and since then, tourism in North Korea has remained extremely limited. Despite all these hidden income sources, ordinary North Koreans see almost none of this money. Most of North Korea's wealth goes to the military and the government, while food shortages and extreme poverty remain widespread. Outside of Pyongyang, much of the country is in ruins, and many people struggle just to survive. But the North Korean government continues to prioritize its own survival. It has built an economy that relies on secrecy, illegal trade, cybercrime, and hidden operations. As long as it continues finding ways to generate revenue, it is unlikely that sanctions alone will ever bring an end to the regime. And that is how North Korea makes money: through a shadow economy built on smuggling, cybercrime, forced labor, counterfeiting, and weapons deals. The world may try to cut off its resources, but as we have seen, North Korea always finds a way to keep its economy running. Want to learn more about the hidden financial networks of the world? Make sure to subscribe for more in-depth stories.